Hi, I'm Deborah, interviewer for the new series of spiritual intelligence videos called the SQ Interview. You've heard of IQ, referring to the assessment of one's raw intelligence, and you may have heard of EQ due to the widely embraced book by Daniel Goleman called Emotional Intelligence. SQ is spiritual intelligence. Dr. Gaetan Chevalier received his PhD from the University of Montreal in atomic physics and laser spectroscopy. After 4 years of research at UCLA in the field of nuclear fusion, he became professor and director of research at the California Institute for Human Science, also known as CIHS. For 10 years, he conducted research on human physiology and electrophysiology. After leaving CIHS, he became an invited researcher in the Department of Developmental and Cellular Biology at UC Irvine. Dr. Chevalier has been director of the Earthing Institute since its foundation in 2009 and is research director at SciTech, a privately owned research company located on the campus of CIHS. He is continuing his research on subtle body energies and the integration of science and spirituality, and brings to us the advancements of physics and its effect on human consciousness. Welcome, Dr. Chevalier.
Thank you for having me.
Living in a state of consciousness that puts us in charge of our own experiences in life versus the outer world controlling our experience. This is really the shift that we're talking about here, isn't it?
Yes. Is that what's happening is that most people are cued by the external, and since birth and since youth, they are trained to respond to outside environment, and we're told, no, you can't do that, and you have to do that. So it's all externally based. So we're raised, especially in the West, to concentrate on the exterior, outside, and we never look inside. While it is inside that we have everything, that we have our connection with the higher consciousness and the divine. And after so many years of meditation myself, I found that the core energy that we receive, of course we receive energy from food, and we need sleep and things like that. But the core energy that we receive when we are quiet and we go inside is absolutely essential for our health, mental health, and our physical as well as emotional and spiritual well-being. So I studied physics. I went into physics. I didn't know I would go all the way to have a PhD. That was not my goal. But I did want to know about physics, and I was very curious about quantum physics and its implications. And I was surprised to see that my mentor and teachers in quantum physics were not that interested in the spiritual or the more far-reaching aspect of what quantum physics means. It's like there is a tradition which is called the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum physics that states that it's a tool, so it works and it explains the world and makes the world a strange place, but there's no meaning behind that, and I never accepted that. Of course, there's lots of scientists today that agree that there is way more than the Copenhagen interpretation, but that was in the 30s, so 20s and 30s that was developed. And I understand in those years that to get the word out and to get scientific theory accepted by the scientific community, you needed to be a bit hard-nosed and forget the spiritual aspect. But now we are at a place where 80 years later, it's time to explore the real meanings of those things, and that's why I'm here and I'm doing this.
Where do you think we're headed as a human race? And what's your vision?
Use quantum physics to come up with so many of our technology, like all the electronic equipment have transistors, which are based on quantum physics principles. So now we have explored, and now we're making memory chips, and we're making qubits, and we're going soon to have a quantum computer, which will leave in the dust the computer we have now. It's going to be so much more powerful. Our brain is a quantum computer. It's time now to explore the real meaning of quantum physics, and we've gone beyond quantum physics. Standard model is not based on quantum theory. It's based on quantum field theory, which is an improvement on quantum theory.
They've tapped in to that subtle energy, that higher frequency energy.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about quantum field theory, and when you were talking about essentially discovering that there is this oneness,
Mm-hmm.
and that you've also studied, what's going on, in the East and in India, and through their practices, and how much more in tune they are to these subtle energy frequencies. One of the ways that we can access that is through meditation. And obviously, you brought that up at the very beginning. You said through meditation, and so talk to us a little bit about meditation.
There are many different forms of meditation. Like you have Zen Buddhist meditation, you have Vipassana, you have different type of Indian meditation, transcendental meditation. You have meditation that use mantras, meditation that use visualization. So I think they're all good, but not all of them are good for everybody. So it's nice, that we can choose among those who are fitting our lifestyle. There's some people have very hard time to sit in meditation, and so they do active meditation, walking meditation. You can even do meditation while playing music or doing a hobby, and it brings you into a higher state of consciousness. That's the key. The key is that you're doing an activity that brings you inside yourself, and that fits your needs. And you will see, and that's what happened to me, that it will shift with the years. You're going to need a different technique. You're going to need a different technique that helps you to go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Right.
And so I think it's a matter of exploring what's out there and finding what is resonating with you and starting doing something. Taking time for yourself and do some meditative activities. Even if it's half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, you will see that you get so much more energy, that the hour that you seem to lose in meditation, it's actually, you're going to recover it because you're going to need an hour less of sleep.
In addition to meditation, are there any other daily things that people can do to help facilitate a shift in consciousness?
Well, I think everything we do with mindfulness. So I'm a big fan of mindfulness too. You be conscious of what you're doing. You're conscious of what you're doing when you're eating, and what food you're eating, and if it's good for you or not. So you're feeding your body after whatever you're doing. You can be more mindful about what you're doing and not be so rushed in doing this and that and that. I know it's a practice, but it's a spiritual practice, and life is a spiritual practice, because at the end, you're doing all this and you're miserable. What is the worth? You want to be happy. We live the life to be happy. So if you're not happy in what you're doing, it's a way that your inner self is telling you, no, it's not, your life is not worth it. It's not what you're supposed to do. So you have to be happy in life. And follow the happiness is follow not only your heart, but it's follow also your higher self, and it's follow your bliss, basically. I think it's very important, but we're not recognize it because it's so much with us. We are absolutely true that we are co-creator of the universe. Whatever you accept as the reality of the moment, that's what it is for you. You just created it. So the practice that I'm doing now is called Vipassana meditation. And for me, it allows me to see the power of creation that we have and see how the event of exterior appear a certain way. And I accepted a certain way that was based on past habits. But it was not congruent with what I wanted. It made me miserable. So now I have the power to go back and say, no, I don't need to create it this way. I can create it that way. And then you create a different universe. And it's interesting because universe change instantly. You're really living the light that you're creating by default, not knowing that you're a creator.
Right.
So having the knowledge that you create every moment of your life gets you out of being the victim of what's happening. It puts you in control and in charge.
When we're talking about consciousness, I know our audience is really interested in a discussion around, what happens to our consciousness when our physical body dies.
Well, I still believe in physics, in some of the laws of physics, and one of them is that nothing is created, everything changes form. And so that comes from classical physics, and I think it continues into quantum physics and into spiritual realms. So everything that exists presently is a transformation of something that always has been. It's just a new form. So whatever our consciousness is, it's not going to disappear, and be nothing. There's a lot of research actually that people are not aware of that supports very much that we are living beyond our death, and that we are reincarnated. That the universe is conspired to make you happy, and I found that this is true. If you really look for it, if you really pay attention, it's trying to get you to the place where you can grow in consciousness and be more happy. And that's what it's all about. Well, the meaning of life is found into paying attention and be present to what the universe is presenting me. It's revealing every day into what I'm doing and where I'm going, And the meaning comes from my life itself. So by living in harmony with my higher self, with what I'm trying to do, with what I'm supposed to do, I'm finding meaning in what I'm doing, in helping others, in doing this, what I'm doing right now. It makes a meaningful life. It means a life that, you make a difference in people, and it's probably why we're here, it's to increase the happiness and the sharing and growing spiritually until we reach the stars. Who knows what's the limit?
If we're speaking to our audience, what could we leave them with in terms of what role they can play in setting out on their day-to-day?
Well, first of all is don't think you're insignificant. It's like every drop of water in the ocean say, I'm useless. There's no ocean. So it's all made of droplets. So we all have a role to play, and that role is very important, and we have to recognize it and accept it. So if you accept your life as being meaningful, as having a purpose, and you seek it, you will find it.